When you think of family, you include your parents, your grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, and of course, your pets. Like the saying goes, a dog is a man's best friend, and I completely agree with this. Whether you have a dog, cat, a hamster, or even a fish, you consider this little creature part of your family. Today I'm going to convince you why your next pet should be adopted from the animal shelter and not store-bought from your local pet store. I have been researching the perks of adopting a homeless pet for some time now, and I've also adopted 3 dogs in the past 4 years. I think we've all walked past a pet store and swooned over those little cute, adorable puppies behind the glass window. But have you really ever stopped to think like where these puppies really came from? Today I will clue you in on the barbaric truth on puppy mills, euthanasia. Also I'll talk about why animal shelters are so important and why your next pet should be adopted instead of bought at the pet store. First, let's discuss the horrible truth of puppy mills. Puppy mills are basically they're factory-style breeding facilities that just care more about profits than the welfare of animals. Like, could you imagine forcing your pet to live in a small wired cage and just without any human companionship, no toys, or even a little hope of ever becoming part of a family? This is exactly why puppy mills are really horrible places, and they treat the dogs like crap, basically. Like, their only purpose in life is just to breed over and over again until they physically can't anymore, and then after that they're usually abandoned, killed, or even just sold to another breeder. And then the puppies that come from the puppy mills are sold over the internet, or they're sold through the newspaper, or just whoever is willing to buy them. But I'm sure many of you have seen those fancy websites or newspaper classified ads marketing these cute little puppies and sold with claims that they're homebred and that they group around kids, but usually these claims are false because these people will do anything just to make profit off these poor animals. And then sadly, a lot of people don't even realize that once they purchase these puppies, they're actually supporting the cruel industry. And also, a lot of these puppies can have serious behavioral and health problems because of the mistreatment and abuse that they endure at these puppy mills. Because I mean, if these puppies are getting reproduced all the time, obviously it's not bad to mate a mom with their son, you know what I mean? So of course, genetic problems are gonna develop. Today, the American Kennel Club recognizes over 150 breeds, and also with so much breeding going on, negative traits like aggression can occur and physical problems as well. For example, good breeders limit the number of litters that a dog can have per year, maybe to 1 or 2, but at these puppy mills, they don't care, they'll just do as much as they can. So I mean, when you buy a pet from a pet store, you have no way you have no way of knowing who the breeder is or where it's coming from, so it's always better to adopt, because most dogs at an animal shelter are just strays and they once had a home and they were rescued on the street, so most of them aren't from breeders or puppy mills. Also, many people have a misconception about animal shelters. They think that these dogs are dirty or there's something wrong with them or they're really aggressive, but that's not necessarily the case. Animal shelters care for about 6 to 8 million dogs and cats per year. But unfortunately, since there's so many that they care for, there's limited space and money. So they also have to euthanize 3 to 4 million per year as well, which is sad. Most of those dogs end up in the shelter because of problems such as divorce or move or time and financial constraints, not necessarily because there's something wrong with them or that they're dirty animals. They just need the right owners with the right attitudes to adopt them. Also, according to the Humane Society, about 20% of the animals at an animal shelter are purebred, because I know a lot of people prefer to have a purebred animal just because of due to family tradition or personal preference, and they do exist at the animal shelter. It's not just a bunch of mutts. Also, when you adopt a pet at the animal shelter, you're actually saving 2 lives. 1, the pet that you're rescuing, and 2, you're freeing up a space where an animal can be rescued and kept in the shelter. Even though like more people are adopting, numbers are not as high, or not high enough, and like this forces the shelter staff to make tough decisions on whether to euthanize these animals. Also, some of the perks of adopting an animal from the shelter, you get adoption counseling and follow-up assistance such as pet parenting, dog training classes. You also get medical services and behavior counseling. Also, the fees are tremendously way lower too, whether like if you adopt from a pet store or not adopt from a pet store, if you adopt from an animal shelter, the fees are way less because I mean like you can spend like $700 to a couple grand for a puppy at the pet store, and that doesn't include medical expenses. The ASPCA charges about $75 to $125 for the fees for the dogs, whereas if you buy a pet from a pet store, you'd be looking at spending around $2 grand after buying the dog itself. Also, pets that come from the animal shelter may also be more suitable for younger children because they tend to be more calm and gentle. Like puppies can be really rowdy and need a lot of training, so that's also a perk. Like I said, a lot of people are afraid to adopt from the shelter because they don't know where these dogs come from, but I mean like the shelter is going to screen them and make sure that they're eligible to even become adopted before they're even like, you know, available to the public to be adopted, so they're not just going to let an aggressive dog, you know, be available for the public to adopt. And some people feel that adopting a pet is a status symbol, and people also like the fact that they've rescued an animal. Like if the truth about puppy mills and the significance of animal shelters hasn't changed your mind about adopting yet, maybe the following will. Like when you adopt, like I said, you're saving 2 lives, and hopefully like, I know like 3 to 4 million dogs are euthanized a year from shelters, and that's a lot of dogs, but I mean if just one person adopts a dog per year, like that will bring us a step closer to saving these animals. Also, like, most of the dogs from the animal shelter are healthy and behave. Like, a lot of tests are done to make sure that they're considered for adoption. You're going to save a lot of money if you adopt, and also you'll feel better, I think, as well. Because, I mean, having just a pet can help lower your blood and cholesterol levels, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it's a good thing because, I mean, it's also, like, kind of a good medicine on a person. When you adopt, there's so many choices. Shelters carry not just cats and dogs, but they have rabbits, hamsters, turtles, and I've seen pigs and like chickens as well. So I mean, you have a lot of choices there. Also, the ASPCA offers a program for prospective pet owners, where you can take a pet home for a couple days and experience like situations and problems, and then later you can decide if adoption is right for you or not. Also, when you adopt from the shelter, you won't be supporting the puppy mills, which is good because that's a horrible industry. There are laws against them, but it's so easy for them to get around it and to get away with what they're doing right now. And plus, there aren't that many like inspectors. So, but I guess the Humane Society is working closely with law enforcement to help regulate the puppy mills even more so. So now that I've revealed the truth about puppy mills and animal shelters, hopefully you're convinced why your next pet should be rescued from the animal shelter, not store-bought. So next time you walk by a pet store and see that puppy, like you'll stop and wonder where those puppies really came from. Also, instead like just visit your local animal shelter and give these lonely puppies a home once again. Because they mean save a life and welcome a homeless pet into your family. Like owning a pet shouldn't be backed up by an industry that tortures animals. It should be about like rescuing a homeless pet and making them part of your family.